Another day, another set of information in this Michigan sign-stealing situation. Are the walls starting to close in on the Wolverines? And if the Big Ten has the information, should they take action before the season ends?
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
When we left off on Tuesday, what did we know? According to the articles, according to the reports that we heard, we knew that Connor Stalions purchased tickets for other folks to come in and film games on their cell phone. These were games and these were tickets that Connor Stalions purchased himself. The big question I had, and I think the big question that was really going to move this investigation forward, was the video that was shot allegedly at these opposing venues. Did it make itself into the Michigan facility, and was it used for a competitive advantage? Well, we may have our answer according to the Washington Post. So this Washington Post article really revolves around this outside firm that was hired by the NCAA and got access to a lot of information inside of the Michigan facility. According to the article, the outside firm presented to NCAA officials photographs of people investigators believe to be Michigan scouts in action, including current students interning with the football team, right? When I talked about in the previous video before, we're not sure who these people are, but according to this, these people are associated with Michigan. According to this article, it's students interning with the football team. The photos showed these people seated at games of Michigan opponents this season, aiming their cell phones at the sidelines. Days later, the outside firm told the NCAA cell phone videos depicting the coaching staffs from these games were uploaded to a computer drive maintained and accessed by Stalions, as well as several other Michigan assistants and coaches. That last part is the really big part, where this video, according to the Washington Post and according to this outside firm that was hired and the information that they gathered, this video was uploaded to a drive somewhere in the Michigan facility where it was then accessed by assistants and coaches. I talked about maybe not all of the puzzle pieces connecting. You had some of it, but you didn't have all of it. Now you've got who the people are and where the video ended up. And it ended up being seen by assistants and coaches, once again, according to the Washington Post. Although it maybe wasn't my number one question when I outlined it on Tuesday, another big question I had is, where did the money come from? This is tens of thousands of dollars in travel and in tickets to be able to scout all of these games. And Connor Stalions is working on a $55,000 a year salary. We may have our answer, according to the Washington Post. $15,000 per year to be able to fund these trips. Among the pieces of evidence that the firm presented, a detailed schedule of Michigan's planned sign-stealing travel for the rest of the season, listing opponents' schedules, which games Michigan scouts would attend, and how much money was budgeted for travel and tickets to scout the team. So not only are we talking about the video ending up in-house to review, to possibly use for game plan, we're talking about these trips being budgeted and funded from inside the Michigan building as well. Strike one, strike two, maybe we're just waiting for strike three. Let's talk about Jim Harbaugh's role in all of this. We don't know if the video obtained eventually made its way to the eyes. We don't know if it made its way to the desk of Jim Harbaugh to get to that level of game planning. This seems like a well-orchestrated thing, and they put tens of thousands of dollars into it. At this point, I would be a little bit surprised if Jim Harbaugh did not know about it. If this thing is going south, okay, and if the Titanic is going down, you got to find a way to find a lifeboat. That's where Jim Harbaugh is right now. You got to make sure that Connor Stalions and maybe other lower level staffers are the fall guys. And you need to get out of this situation on a lifeboat. I'll also say this when we talk about Jim Harbaugh. According to this Washington Post article, the video was filmed. It was on hard drives, accessible to assistants and coaches. What that tells me right there in today's day and age and how the NCAA and how these investigations end up going, and especially in the court of public opinion. Well, if Jim Harbaugh claims he didn't know, he should have known. And of course, if he did know, he didn't do anything about it, and he's going to be disciplined accordingly. A lot of times now in these situations, we've seen it time and time again. No matter which way it goes, if it proves that it was in your building, if this type of stuff happened under your roof, you're going to be held responsible as a head coach. We saw it happen with Pat Fitzgerald earlier this summer. I'm pretty confident in one thing. The NCAA ain't gonna do anything this season. The NCAA likely will wait until 2024. If the NCAA is going to hand down punishment, it's not going to be until after this college football season. And that's where the Big Ten Conference steps in. Because Tony Petitti has got some power in this situation. Tony Petitti has the ability to hand down penalties. According to these reports, it's Big Ten schools that are notifying the NCAA, are notifying the conference. It's surveillance footage brought forth by some of these stadiums at Big Ten venues. So Tony Petitti has a delicate line to straddle right now. You've got a conference power player in Michigan, and we know what they provide, the cash cow that the Wolverines are. But you've also got the entire Big Ten sitting over here, and they're pointing out what they feel are wrongdoings, maybe contributing against the health of the conference right now. If the Big Ten is going to make a decision, they've got to straddle that line where maybe the penalties handed down at a conference level aren't ultra significant where it brings Michigan way down, but you also need to look out for the remainder of your conference as well. If the Big Ten determines that they have enough information before the end of the season, then I believe that they should act. But only if they have 100% enough information. I don't want to see the conference jumping ahead on something that they're 95% sure on. Whether it's the Big Ten or whether it's the NCAA, you need to have 100% certainty and you need to have 100% proof before penalties get handed down. I could see a suspension of some coaches that, once again, they need to 100% tie specific coaches to this deal as well. I've got a good feeling that the Big Ten would be ready to act, but like we've seen in some other cases, sometimes the court of public opinion can move faster than any organization. There are some differences to the scandals that we've seen earlier in the season. Northwestern was coming off a 1-11 season. Some out there have said that this was brought up at Northwestern to remove Pat Fitzgerald without paying him the rest of his contract. Sound familiar? Mel Tucker as well. These are both coaches. These were both programs that were struggling. Well, if there's one thing Michigan isn't doing right now, it's struggling. I could see this thing taking more time. Considering the success that Michigan has had the last few seasons, considering that, well, they might be the favorite to win the college football playoff national championship, and we are in the heart of their run right now. It's just, it's very difficult for me. And who knows, we could see more evidence come forth. And by the time Michigan is ready to play Purdue on Saturday night next week, because they have a bye this week, what a great time for a Michigan bye, that maybe there will be enough evidence for the university to take action before the NCAA takes action, before the Big Ten takes action. There's a little bit of precedent in that where the suspension was handed out by the university at the beginning of the season. That 3-game Jim Harbaugh suspension. If stuff continues to come out, if a lot of steam and this really starts to heat up and you hear the Big Ten could make a move, hey, maybe, just maybe, it's crazy enough, the NCAA could make a move. Maybe Michigan makes that move first, a preemptive strike. The last thing that I really want to cover in this video, and a lot of people have said this, everybody does it when it pertains to sign stealing. I will say, and I'm not involved, I've never played college football, I'm not involved in any of these programs. I'm a guy talking about the sport and the conference that I love each and every single day. But I will say this, and this is kind of based on what I've heard the last few days and the last week as well. I think teams do their scouting. I think they do their due diligence on TV copy and the film that is uploaded to the conference, the film exchange. But in terms of an orchestrated university or at least department team budgeted operation like Michigan is going through, I don't think people do it on this type of level. And that's unfortunate for me because Michigan is as good a bet as anybody right now to bring the Big Ten Conference their first national championship since 2014. And that's why this hurts. Michigan has been an utterly dominant college football program. And they should be the favorite, I think, to win the national championship right now. But they've got this cloud consistently hanging over them, and this is going to be questioned until we get evidence to the contrary that all of this is made up or something like that. There is going to be, people are going to start to draw that asterisk next to Michigan's name right now. So I don't think people are doing it, or at least not a lot of people are doing it at this level. I think not a lot because it costs a lot of money and it's a big investment to put forth this type of operation. That's a big reason why the no in-person scouting rule was put forth by the NCAA in 1994. It was to level the playing field a lot. So big money universities couldn't get a huge advantage over smaller schools in terms of being able to send scouts out to opposing venues. Just sit back and think about how much information we have gotten since late last week. We are 9 days away from Michigan playing a football game. What's going to happen in 9 days? What's going to happen before Michigan plays Purdue on NBC on Big Ten Saturday night? Before then, Jim Harbaugh is probably going to have a press conference. There's going to be a lot asked. Things might get frustrating. But one thing is for certain. This is far from over. I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. Has your opinion, Sports Illustrated article, Washington Post report, has that changed your opinion since Tuesday? Or are you still in the same boat? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Folks, buckle up because this could be a wild ride. There could be more to come as it pertains to this Michigan sign stealing situation. I'm Big Ten Ted. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.